We're going to have the roll call. Natalia Franklin.
Yes, all the guests to sign in.
Mary Lou Barnes.
Present.
Randall Anderson. Here. Joe Costello.
Here.
Larry Rocco's here. Michelle Murray.
Here.
Okay. All right, we have a guest speaker who's going to go first. If Dee Dee would like to introduce him to the people who just came in.
Okay. This is Justin Lusk. He's with Cobra Environmental. He's been looking at our drainage issues and problems, and he's going to explain to the board and open up for questions on the issues that we're facing and what needs to be done. It's all yours, Justin.
Welcome to the Beehive.
Thank you. It was Dee Dee called me in regards to one segment of pipe that you guys were having an issue with, sinkhole. So I went and looked at it. The outfall pipe that goes from the last structure to the lake is rotted and sand and water are getting into it. So I put a proposal together to clean and televise your whole system. But then after walking around and seeing all the outfalls, there's no way for us to properly plug off all the outfalls in the lakes to get a good view of your pipes without replacing those outfalls. Because we have to set plug to keep the water from the lakes coming back into the system so we can pump it down, clean it, and put a camera in there and see it. So then I put a proposal together to replace all your outfalls that are disintegrated.
When you see, like, what you can see in the lakes, the corrugated steel, right?
Right.
Is that throughout underneath, or is it
Not according to the plans. I couldn't tell you without actually pumping the system down and seeing it. But the plans that we found, most of your pipe is reinforced concrete.
Or I would think it would
Yeah,
be.
we do have the one corrugated metal.
You do have one segment that is all corrugated metal,
As per the
according to the
plans.
plans.
But in a question.
What segment is that?
In building 107, we have
This is what we discussed last
this
time.
land cave
The only
in
one.
and maybe 1 foot. And
What street?
but we have in other places it's everything okay. Maybe it's just couple places with the problem, not all community.
The only way to really find out is to view it.
Yeah,
on
but
the
when
camera.
you see already indentation, that is the problem. If you see everything okay, and we don't have, when we have strong rain, we don't have water collected there.
Right.
It's everything drained perfectly. We don't have that problem.
Yeah, I don't
But-
think you guys are really so
but-
much worried about drainage. You're just worried about the condition of the drainage system.
Yeah.
Yeah, what we can afford.
Right.
Because, yeah, plus
But
what we can afford.
you guys are doing a bunch of restoration to your parking lots, correct?
Yes.
Well, it's on the
process.
on the back burner now.
Yeah,
We get
until we
other
figure out
things
what to
done.
do with this.
Exactly.
But this is an example of your outfalls. They're falling apart.
Yeah,
And
I understand, but not every because I was
31
look
out of
at
32.
around.
30. I walked each and
look
every
at-
one of them. I've got pictures of all.
No, what I talk about that dirt fall that they have this sink down.
Oh no.
Yeah,
that's not-
Sinkhole. Yeah.
No, it's not sinkhole.
There's only
It
one
just
little-
a little one.
one.
We have one in front of building.
Yeah,
Right
that
across.
little one.
We have a building one where I live. Yes, it
Yeah.
is there, just a indentation,
That's the one
maybe
I
1
saw.
foot. Yeah, and
This is the
I
only
don't
one
have
we
in other
saw
places.
walk
I
the
don't see
property.
that we walk around and I even walk on top of that pipes. I do not know. Do we need to replace all the system? It's too expensive. Yeah.
No, you don't need to do that because it's concrete in between.
Right.
What we just need to take care of is the outfills going from the water, wherever that corrugated metal to the concrete. That's the only areas that we are looking at replacing because they're all disintegrated
Yeah.
first.
As far as right now, the attention is really on the outfalls.
But if we don't have problem with flooding parking lots, why we need address
The problem
this
is
now?
if you lose your outfall, you lose your drainage
Exactly.
completely.
If
If
that,
that
But you cannot lose concrete. You cannot.
No, but every
No.
single outfall is corrugated metal. And that's
It's
per-
a little piece. Yeah. What just go to
yeah,
the lake?
It's a 30-foot section from the edge of the lake bank into the lake.
Because somebody dig hole where that indentation, and you can see that concrete type of concrete pipe, or I don't know what his name.
What it is it's
Inside, it's
concrete.
not metal.
It's out to the lake bank is concrete. And there's a
It's maybe
collar.
only 10 feet probably, not 50.
There's a collar there that has an adapter that goes from concrete to metal. So every one of your outfalls is metal pipe, and they're all disintegrated.
Are they all 30 feet?
Well, that's what I was just gonna ask, thank you.
Generally, yeah. So where your littoral shelf is in the lake, from the littoral shelf out is metal. From there back is usually concrete. So there's a special concrete collar that has a metal adapter on it with a rubber band, and then a metal band with bolts that holds that 20-foot stick out into the lake. So if you lose that, you won't have any
But
drainage.
let me ask you a question. Where I live, there's 2 homes and then just grass to the lake. You don't see any piping or any shelf or anything you're talking about. So what would be the issue there? We're 50 and 51st. We're our own little community, if you know what I mean. We're not part of
He
the...
wouldn't know the street specifically.
Oh, well, you have to,
right now.
when you inspect, I thought he came on property.
Yeah, but that's been a
Ours is
while.
the one which is a separate entrance off of Village, 50 and 51st.
Is it on this map?
From Village
Yes,
Boulevard.
yes, Village, it's its own entrance. It's not part of the Cumberland entrance or the Shiloh entrance or
It's
whatever.
been probably about a month since I
Yeah, it's
walked
this
it.
section right here.
Which was the most recently built. And I've never, 28 years there, I've never had any flooding problems or
Well,
issues,
you're not-
so I'm just,
if
no,
you
but I'm
haven't
wondering,
yet.
but you're talking about stuff that's 30 feet in from the lake, and I don't see anything when I walk around the lake on 50 and 51st. I don't see what
You
you're
won't see
describing.
it. It's
Yeah.
underwater.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what would it flood? Tell me what it would flood,
What it is, let me pull out the big map.
because I don't quite understand what it would flood.
All these lines here that are connected to the lake, these are called outfalls. So
Okay.
this whole system that drains this whole entire parking lot, all these are tied together, and the outlet for all the water that's retained in the system is these lakes through the outfall pipes. So if you lose this metal
It
pipe out in the
collapses,
lake and it collapses, there's nowhere for any of this water to go into the lake.
It goes into your parking lot. and
It'll just be
evaporates.
retained. in-
So, in other words, the drain that's in each of our parking lots that we've been talking
Back up.
about replacing the concrete, that drain that handles rainfall and kills baby ducks and whatnot, that is where it would drain into the lake from there?
Right.
Okay, so that's not part of the sewer system, that's part of the lake system?
Absolutely.
Correct.
Okay, okay.
But they won't replace only metal.
Well, but I
not
see that
concrete.
better, I see what you're talking about better when you
Yes,
say.
basically, if that pipe gets clogged up here, that water's gonna come up that grate here, because it's got nowhere else to
Okay,
go.
okay,
That's the
okay.
simple way to.
What is the life expectancy of those corrugated pipes?
It's not long. I mean, it's usually generally 30 to 40 years.
Well, we're 35 years old, so give or take.
I don't know why they designed it like that, and they still do.
But it's 300,000,
I
over
mean, and we're-
300,000.
you know, I'm doing work for a lot of brand new communities, and they're still putting metal out in the lakes. It makes no sense to me, but the engineers haven't figured it out.
There must be
yet.
a reason, yeah, there must
I
be
mean,
a
there's
reason why they
there's
recommend
a
it.
million different other products out there, plastic stuff that.
So it's fair to say that we're not having any issues now?
Right,
We don't have
exactly.
any,
I think there's a couple spots where you are having some sinkholes out by the
Yeah,
lakes,
yeah,
which
there
I
are some,
saw.
yeah, sinkholes where it's starting to fall in and.
But under it, it's concrete, because somebody did
From
holes.
the lake bank back to the structures is mostly concrete.
Concrete,
There's only
yes.
one segment that's metal under your parking lots, and that's that 30-inch line that runs from Village to the lake. I don't know.
I did not see
On
that,
what street?
it
On
cannot
what
be
way?
more than 10 feet,
What
why
way?
it's 30 feet?
No. This is the only corrugated metal pipe that I've been discussing. And it's,
It's around. It's right next to building 122 and 119.
I live at 122 and we don't have any issues, so that's why I am
This is the
wondering.
only metal pipe that runs under your concrete parking lots on the whole property. That run right there. The rest is called out as concrete pipe.
you don't want to wait until you have a
So-
sinkhole.
Yeah,
Just
no,
saying.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is 28 years and 5 or 6 hurricanes later, we've never had a flood. So
Well, that's a good thing.
Well,
So-
you're the youngest of the development, okay?
Yes,
Most
we're the
recent.
newest area,
So
yes,
you're
by
not-
5
you haven't
years,
maybe
by 5
not-
years.
And you probably have not reached that point where
Well, but that's the one he's talking about
My
repairing.
concern
to
is
look
that
at
the
it.
builder short-circuited and did a quick job in that last unit, rather than using concrete like he did.
They
on
may have
the
had
others.
some leftover pipe.
I could explain, because I do know the reason, due to the late Joni McCann, who most of you knew. 50 and 51st, which is just what you're talking about, building 122, and the other buildings adjacent to it, 118, etc. Okay, was a dairy farm. Cows, pigs, etc. That whole Long Village was a dairy farm. According to a late friend of all of ours, or most of ours, who served on the board, she lived here then. She lived in the community. She lived in the neighborhood. She said that it was not, she used a word I wasn't familiar with, that the property had never been properly demucked. And therefore, that could end up being a problem someday.
Yeah.
Now,
They
would that be why they
demucking is-
used, is that why they maybe didn't use the
Well, on the
same-
plans, it says exist 30-inch, which means,
Okay.
and generally, that pipe was already there. If
Okay,
it says that on the plans, that means that when they put this as-built together, that
Right.
pipe was already there.
oh, okay, okay.
But you might be able to go in and look, and it might not be a metal pipe, right?
Right,
It may
right.
not, be, but
Now, is that one of the ones you guys would actually go in and you're gonna look at everything?
Well, no,
no.
we can't do that until the outfalls are fixed, because in order to look at everything, we have to pump the system down. Because your system is a wet system, which means all the lakes are conjoined through the outfalls.
Okay.
In order to look at the system properly, you have to plug that outfall pipe in the lake with an airbag, and then pump the system down and put the camera in there and look at it.
Okay.
You can't see
You
anything.
can't do it while there's water.
No. It's just black. You can't see it.
Now, and the city has no responsibility for any part of the lake, even though they installed the fountains in the middle of the lake and they
Yes.
maintain those fountains?
has nothing
They
to do with
still
our
have-
drainage system.
Well, but they put those fountains into pipes
drainage system
that
is-
have water.
Yes,
Northern
that's-
Palm Beach Drainage District.
I've already
But-
checked with all
We're
the-
Northern
You-
Palm Beach, we're considered Northern Palm
Yep,
Beach.
but you guys are responsible for maintaining the system.
And yet we're not responsible for the,
Did you inspect the
Fountains, it's
drain
interesting.
basins? By any chance?
Couple of them, I didn't walk every single one of them.
I did.
They looked pretty decent, but they're full of water, so it's hard to really see. But generally, you don't get your issues in the structures, because they're,
poured
12
concrete.
inches thick
Yeah,
concrete.
yeah, yeah.
Well, just a lot of them are sunken,
Yeah, they could be, if they didn't compact underneath the structure when they set them properly, they will start to sink.
because we were very close to doing that, taking on that project.
Yeah.
There's all these-
Well, I can tell you that you don't want to do anything on the surface until you see what's going on subsurface.
Yeah.
Because you'll spend a ton of money restoring your parking lots, and then 3-4 years down the road, you might have a sinkhole that you could have prevented. And there's a system in place that we have to rehabilitate all those drainage pipes if we do find a problem without digging anything up.
You mean while you're in there?
Yes.
Yeah, so if we come in and do all the outfalls, fix them, and then when we inspect your system, and we see maybe some of the concrete pipe, the joints are leaking, you got some cracks and stuff, because concrete pipe fails. It's not perfect. We
You got a
can
tree branch from.
put a whole new segment of pipe inside that pipe without digging anything up.
It's called sleeving. I've never done so.
And that's
So many questions,
that's
Michelle?
100-year lifetime on that material. It's engineered for 100 years.
Oh, then
I was just,
no, go ahead.
I was just curious if you had worked with any, like there are several associations that were all built by the same developer, including Garden Lakes, which is up in Palm Beach Gardens, and a lot of places in PGA. And they probably were built very much the same way. Have you had any experience with any of those communities that are quite a bit older than ours?
I haven't, no.
Built by Bergen DeVosta.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've worked in some DeVosta communities, but not doing, the sleeving work that we usually do.
But the older ones.
Generally,
were
DeVosta's been a
Bergen
good
DeVo-
builder.
Yeah.
I've done a lot of work for them.
Perini, I think, was the developer. I think he did all the
Perini,
infrastructure.
yeah, Perini.
But I just was curious I think think it might behoove us to talk to individuals from those associations too, because they are that much older than we are. So, to see what experiences they've been having, and even from the standpoint that if they are having problems and we are having problems, we could all work together to get them resolved. It's, in a similar time frame.
Good idea, yeah.
Yes, I agree, Michelle. No harm in asking.
Right. But now, and also the other thing, we were talking about the sinkholes. Larry, is that what you were talking about with one of the townhomes?
No, this is a different situation. We have roots that broke the drainage lines under the slab, tree roots.
Okay. That's a whole nother horror story.
Absolutely.
That's because
It's in
we
the
haven't,
park, it's in the
that's
park
because
near
we haven't
lake, it's
taken
not
down
on
the
parking
ficus
lot.
trees that cause the problems. Talking about that for 4 years.
Do we have any more questions?
Now, do we have any more questions for Justin?
No, you have his recommendations in writing, right? And we have it, I guess, too.
I've used-
That where
I've
we
used
can,
this
and we can,
and-
no, what I mean for us, we could discuss it, and you have the finances of it and everything.
Yeah.
So we can, when we have time, discuss
Educate
this.
so you can
We
give
have
me
his,
direction.
we have his bids.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, is there any other questions that you might ask for us, since you're more familiar with this than we are?
No, it's pretty simple in my book.
Okay,
And
okay.
it's prevention at this point.
Right, okay.
Yeah, the whole scope of cleaning and televising the system is to give you guys the peace of mind of knowing what's underneath your parking lots, what condition it's in, so that when you do your restoration project, you know you're good to proceed. Because nobody ever really pays attention to the drainage. I mean, it's out of sight, out of mind until there's a problem.
Well, I can give you, for instance, going back, I'm going to say 10 years because time flies. Building 122, the parking lot was almost totally replaced because we had ficus trees that were cracking open and uprooting
Right.
the driveways and parking spaces. In the last 10 years, because those trees were still never cut down and the roots were never dug out,
Right.
they are now happily growing again and re-cracking new concrete. So to me, both your issue and the ficus tree issue are terribly important prior to replacing
Yeah.
concrete.
And whatever you see on the surface is happening also on the
Oh, I know,
subsurface.
and they grow toward water. The roots grow toward water.
That's a lot of the thing with concrete pipe is when they put the joints together, there's a rubber gasket in there.
Okay.
And that gasket, after 10 years, is disintegrated and it's gone. So then water starts leaking in or leaking out, and then the ficus trees and banyan trees find that water. They start growing into those joints, and then they start expanding, and that's what cracks concrete pipe.
Well, I think we have about 160 ficus trees, if I read right, I think.
So you could have a perfect system.
Right.
You could have some areas that do need attention.
But a couple that need tweaking
But we don't know that
until you do a
Televised.
survey.
Right.
Survey.
And we can't do a proper survey until your outfall's been taken care of.
Okay.
Thank you, Justin, so much. Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Justin.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
By the way, just one question. In
Yeah.
your examination of the area, how many of these conduits, these pipings, that metal pipes that have gone into the lake have disintegrated?
31 out of 32.
Okay.
So the one good one must be by my place?
It's actually by her place.
Yeah.
Because the one in front of my house is pretty good shape.
My,
Nothing wrong with
I
it.
think it's my thing.
Does it look like that?
No, it looks better than that.
I'm trying to think of which one it is.
So then the bottom line is the
So survey
outfalls are
can't
the
be
first
done
step.
until the outfalls
In my opinion, yes.
are repaired.
How long does it take to plug one of those up, drain it out, and for you to get in to do your
Turtles,
examination?
It's there.
Once they're fixed,
No,
No, just examination.
to examine them, to video as you are proposing.
it doesn't take long. It takes a couple hours to pump the system
Okay.
down. And
All
then
right.
we would run, we would get down and look down the pipe with a spotlight, see if it needs to be cleaned. If it does, we would clean it and then televise it. And generally, the systems, with the way they built these systems, they have usually a 10 to 12 inch sump, which is the space between the bottom of the pipe and the bottom of the structure. That's supposed to catch all your debris. If those are maintained, generally you don't have a whole lot of debris in lines. But most people don't maintain their structures, so my guess is you probably do have debris buildup in your lines. It's usually 4, 5, 6 inches, which is still plenty of room for water to get out, but it just makes inspecting the pipe a little bit more difficult.
Okay. Well, very good, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
coming
coming.
out so
Enjoy
late
the
for
rest
us.
of your evening.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're going to have the verification of the posting of this meeting.
It is verified. It's been confirmed.
Okay. And approval of the minutes from the August 16th meeting.
No,
Okay.
But she corrected.
no. I'm saying, I am voting no for those minutes because of what's written about me in them. I have my right, and because everything that I said was not. So I have the right to vote no. I'm voting no.
Well, Mary Lou, we checked with Rawson, and everything doesn't have to be put in the minutes. It's only things that we vote on that pertain to,
I think I know after
The
28 years
well,
and
then
4
why are
times
you
on the board of
contesting?
directors, Larry, I think I know.
well, that you.
And I will
that
vote
Mary
no
Lou-
for the accepting of the minutes, period, because I see things that are reported
I
incorrectly.
can understand where you're
Period.
coming from, but I'm
Period.
just saying that it's not required that every word be put into the minutes.
I didn't say that. I said that if there was incorrect reporting, in my opinion.
All right, well,
Okay.
any rate, anybody like to make a
Incorrect
motion?
or never mind. I was gonna ask. if
Go
it
ahead, you
was-
can ask.
Well, I was gonna ask if it was, is there anything written in it that's incorrect, or is it just you feel like there should be more expounding
I
on
think you should
things?
investigate more thoroughly as to when my emails went to Mr. Rawson
I don't-
versus the putting in here the censorship of me at the July 19th meeting. I think you ought to check and see, because he responded to several of my emails, which now suddenly Larry says that he told Mr. Rawson not to respond to my
That doesn't make
emails.
any sense, Mary Lou.
It doesn't make any sense. You say here, Mr. Rawson, Alan Rawson has advised that Mary Lou Barnes has been communicating
Which is
directly.
true. Were you not communicating with him? Yes,
But-
you were.
But only with prior to July 19th when I was censored, and when I
Oh,
went.
you didn't email
Hold
him
on,
now?
and then I said at a meeting and said to Larry on the telephone that I was emailing him and it had to do with some of the issues going on. And Larry knew I was
recorded what
doing
said.
it.
Did I not record what Larry said?
But
Because that's-
you've incorrectly.
Like, just because you disagree with it doesn't mean he didn't say it. And that's what was trying to be, that was the point he
It's
was
the
trying to make,
date.
is that
It's
you.
the date.
Okay, that he.
All right, well,
Can I ask a question here regarding?
go ahead, Joe.
The emails that we got regarding the minutes, we've gotten a number of them, okay? And the last one was dated yesterday.
This
okay,
morning,
which
today, I
Right.
fixed him today.
My question is, what was the reason for the delay in it? Because when I read the first release that came to me regarding the minutes of the meeting, I did not bother looking for any revisions coming back, and then I saw today on my email that there was a revision. I tried to go through it, I just didn't have the time.
Well, because I've had everyone commenting and wanting revisions. I've made a couple
Okay,
revisions.
no,
and very-
I raised the point because usually we have time to review those minutes prior to the meeting, not the day prior to it. Okay, so if there was a reason which you've explained, I understand.
Okay, come Michelle, you're recognized, go ahead, speak.
Just as a matter of fact, the minutes are a record of what actions were taken at a meeting. If there was nothing else in there except that who's attended, what motion was made, what motion was carried, who voted for what, that is literally all that is required. Now, when I was secretary, as a courtesy, I would submit my minutes to the board so they could prove certain such. However, it's not required that, that anybody do that. And because I'm the one, or Becky in this case, she's the secretary takes the minutes, she puts her name on them. Unless there's some, blatant inaccuracy to what actions were taken, in which case, at that meeting, that would be what you might have an issue with, or you might say, I'm not going to approve the minutes because I did not second that motion, or, I did not agree to that motion. At which point, the board would vote to make those changes to the official record. And that's pretty much the only bit, everything else that goes in the minutes, a lot of it is totally unnecessary, and actually, sometimes the things you put in the minutes can come back to bite you, because they weren't actually actions of the board, they might have just been comments of the board.
I understand that, Michelle. The thing that I'm concerned about is the timeliness of having minutes prior to, even if they're going to be contested at the meeting, they should be given to us with enough time for us to review them.
Which would be how long? Like, what's your
I don't know,
reasonable?
a couple of days. I mean,
I sent them out
if it
on
was 3-4
Sunday.
days before, that's fine, but
I think-
the day before the meeting, because I'm not sure when we vote on this, we're voting on your minutes, the last revision. And I may not have had a time to, or someone else may not have been enough time to have reviewed it. I wasn't expecting that we were having a revision. So I'm just pointing that out. I'm not making an objection, but I'm pointing it out that we should have minutes that are timely and available prior to, more than a day before a meeting.
I sent them out on Sunday, and I think that was enough time for everyone to make comments, which they did, and then I made my final revision today, based on Natalia and Mary Lou emailing me more than once to
I don't
ask
think
for
you
the
need to
revision.
do, I really don't think you should need to do that. I think when you do your minutes and
I
you
agree.
submit them, they are as you're recording. If anybody wants to update them or
Okay.
revise them, they
That's
can
what
do
I'm
so at
gonna
a
do.
meeting.
No more courtesy revisions.
It's less work for you.
It'll make it easier on you, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Do it the way you see it. Any changes, we can do it when we're
We'll
looking
do
at
it
the
the
minutes.
old-fashioned way, where I'll come and I'll read the minutes from the prior minutes, and we can all either approve them or not at the meeting.
Okay.
Also, just to end it, but where we said last month, at last month's meeting,
It's never gonna
that Natalia and Mary Lou voted no for accepting the July minutes. So now, and it was the vote, the minutes were accepted by a vote of 5-2, 5 in favor. So I'm simply doing the same thing this month I did last month.
Okay.
Last month it was accepted, this month it's being made a big production of. I'm
You're
simply
entitled to
voting
do
no.
that. Yes, you
I
Sorry,
am
did you make a motion to approve the minutes? Who did?
Larry did, and I
Larry?
voted no.
Okay.
Okay.
Who
Would
wants to
anybody
second?
like to second the motion?
I second.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have
I abstain.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 1,
Abstain.
2, 3,
I'm
4.
not voting.
She's
Okay.
abstaining, and I vote no.
Okay. And
Natalia
so we
abstained.
have 5 approvals, 1 no, and 1 abstain.
Thank you.
All right, we'll start with my report. My report is pretty much, as everybody knows, is to get our community cleaned up with the rentals. I have an email here that I passed around a little earlier where we have a owner that wants, not an owner, we have a prospective buyer who's wanting to buy 2 units for rental. And I discussed this with Alan Rawson. And I said, Alan, it's time to get this place cleaned up. I said, because right now we're at 28% rentals. 30 is acceptable. You get above 30%, people who want to buy a home to live here are going to have trouble getting a mortgage. Banks do not like to lend money in communities that can go Section 8. We don't want to do that. Our property values are significantly higher as a result of the good stock market. Things are prosperous. We're making changes to the community, not fast enough, but we're getting some things done. Property values are going up. We want to keep them up. So we've got a proposal here of what we need to change in our minutes from Alan. The cover letter pretty much describes the essence of what he changed. There's a lot of legal language in here that he added, and he deleted language that's been killing us. And it's evidenced by the lines through the things that he's taken out. The two major issues are rentals and bank foreclosures. When a bank forecloses on our property, we've been fairly successful at getting them to pay our past due assessments. But if they ever look at our documents, they're not required to. And in one instance, we did have to give money back that we had gotten from somebody who purchased a unit, and it all had to do with past assessments. So we had to return $20,000 because of our documents. So that's going to be corrected with these revisions, and I urge everybody, every homeowner that's here tonight to get out to their neighbors and encourage them. We're going to do this. If the board agrees, we're going to vote on it, but you have two ways of doing it. You can do it through a vote or a special meeting. I think everybody knows how difficult it is to get 51% of the homeowners to a special meeting. Last year at our annual meeting, we had like 17, I believe. Wasn't a lot.
Well, plus the proxies.
Well, but the proxies, but that wasn't a lot either, unfortunately.
No.
So I suggested to Alan mailings, and he agrees that that would probably be the best way. And he's prepared to draft the letter, emphasize the importance of voting yes to the changes that we're asking for. Once we have those changes made, you're going to see nothing but good things happen as far as your property values, and less. It's also going to give us the right to turn down purchase. We have to have good reasons, but good reasons are, he gave examples, people who've been convicted of felonies, people who don't have the financial worthiness of keeping up with association financial responsibilities. Child molesters, things of that. You want to keep people like that out of the community. Right now, we don't do any background checks. Now, we're passing a rule very soon where CAMS is going to start doing them. But the problem we have is even if they find something in somebody's background check and we turn them down, they could sue us because our documents don't support that.
That's what I was going to wonder. You're opening yourself to lawsuits if you
Yes.
don't have documentation.
Right.
Yeah.
These are our rules.
Right.
It's got to have documentation. What are the rules? But you can accept whatever you want.
Exactly. So this is going to protect us. It's all done legally, and it gets our language up to date. This is what the latest language, because the state has changed its laws since our documents were written. And certain things that the state has done will make it easier for us to collect money from the banks. But not if our documents aren't supporting it. So we need to make these changes, and I'm urging everybody to knock on doors, talk to your neighbors. When this gets out in the mail, we have to get it passed. Mary Lou.
Are you going to do what we've done in the past, and that is in this letter enclose a proxy that can be filled out, voting proxy?
Yes.
And may I suggest, this is crazy, but maybe not for local owners, but out of state, out of town owners, perhaps we put a stamp enclosed envelope in there, and maybe we'll get them back.
Right.
Just out of, I know it's going to cost us money, but if it gets us back 30 or 40 votes that we won't
Exactly.
get because they just chuck it aside, but when they see an envelope with a stamp on it, it might just make them,
That's a very good point. Make a note of that.
yeah, I mean, it just,
Mental
expense.
note. Are we relying on your memory?
well, it's more expense, but
Larry,
the
can I ask you a
ultimate
question?
result is far more important than
The mailings, it has to be
$300.
all or none. I mean, you can't be.
It's a one-time deal, one shot deal.
Exactly. So one shot, as Dominic just made the perfect point,
Right.
it's our one-shot deal.
Exactly.
Let's get it. Let's
So
get
if
it
we spend $500 on envelopes and stamps, but we win,
Right.
then we've we've spent the money well. It's a one-shot
You're
deal.
exactly right. Joe?
Did Rosen describe to us a couple of things such as who's responsible for maintaining the payment of electricity on a unit where it has gone into foreclosure, people's vacated and the bank owns it? And are they responsible for paying for the power
Well,
to run the air conditioning
Good.
system?
They
Good
probably
question.
are, but
Good question.
we pay the bill because we don't want the same situation with mold because the banks aren't going to.
No. The point is, though, that we're protecting the bank's interests
Right.
as well as the homeowners that are living in the units.
Right.
But the bank should have a definite responsibility to pay us.
And under these new rules,
They will?
they will, because they're going to be responsible. We have to keep track of fees and expenses, and then the bank is responsible for that.
For example?
Plus 100% of the assessments.
If the air conditioning unit fails and we don't go ahead and replace it, does the bank have to reimburse us?
Well, that, I don't think so, because it's up to us to decide, do we want that unit to run and keep mold out of the unit and the rest of the other 3 units in that building?
But we're protecting the
We,
banks.
I'll ask Ross, and that's a good question, and I'm going to ask
I
him
believe they
about
should
that.
be
Just a
held
little
accountable.
caveat, the account was charged for all those costs.
Right,
So it's on the ledger.
yeah, it's
For
on the
that,
ledger.
for that
just like-
unit that we've been working on?
I understand, but I think our legal, our attorney should let us know whether or not that is a charge that should be covered, and I damn well think it should be.
Yeah.
Because we're
You mean
protecting the
covered?
bank.
Well, he said
Because
it
we're protecting their interior of that building, which they're gonna sell and make
Okay.
good, so they should.
Well, excuse me, but I read these, and it says fees and expenses the bank is responsible for.
Yeah.
That's a fee and an expense.
Yeah,
So
they
I would
recover.
say yes, but I will verify that.
Okay.
Okay?
This simple. Question: if suppose people have children, because in these rules they says that person can live only 30 days here. If it's the children live or go to college and live like 6 months, some people has adult children. Is it okay or not? Or because the rule says only 30 days?
Well, that's what's,
What's addressed in there too?
yeah, it's
Registered.
addressed in the,
Under occupancy.
Is it?
yeah,
Because they say only 30 days.
and it says only 30 days, right.
Yeah, but if somebody had children and they will
Okay,
live 6
Well,
months
there's
here,
exemptions for parent, child, parent, but it's all in there.
because I did not find that about
Well,
if suppose
explains-
sister, brother,
Well, it
or some
explains
relatives.
the family unit, it explains,
Yeah, it tells you what constitutes a family unit. It gives you several examples.
Okay.
Now, the other thing that I didn't see in here, but I guess it falls under they have to abide by our rules and regulations. It doesn't address parking spaces. You know, each unit gets 2.
Right.
Some of these people have 4 and 5 cars,
Absolutely.
and they're using up guest spots. I even see them moving from one parking lot to another, so
Me
they're
too.
not being stickers.
Me too.
get that added in there too.
So that's one thing I want to have him
But that could be a
emphasize.
rule, right? That doesn't have to be the governing documents. Couldn't that be a rule?
Well, I think if it's addressed in our documents, it
Well,
has,
parking
makes it
spaces
strong.
are addressed in our documents.
Yeah.
That every owner has 2 assigned spaces.
Right.
That is in our
And
documents.
it says that we have the right to change these from time to time
By rules, yeah.
by rules.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, that's what I said, under rule, but under governing documents,
yeah.
just
it does
talks about
mention
2
2
spaces.
assigned parking
But
spaces.
doesn't specifically say you're not allowed to have, more than 2 vehicles. Like other associations I deal with, it specifically says no more than 2 vehicles,
Right.
period.
Yeah. So we'll see about adding that.
Not 2 spaces and unlimited gas spaces.
It's a very hard.
I have a question. In this letter, you said that you guys, the board got interview new tenants or prospective tenants. What is it that you guys are looking for as a, what's the criteria of approval, disapproval of new tenants? I understand criminal, financial, credit reports and
That's kind
stuff.
of the 2,
When
3
you
biggest things.
interview somebody, sometimes that's another opening for legal lawsuits also.
Well, we have, number one, anybody leasing a unit should be going through our management company. There's documents that they need to sign and agree to. And once we have their signature on it, if they don't abide by the rules and regulations that they signed and said they would, we can move to evict. Okay? All right, and then the only other thing, Michelle, this, I don't know whether you got the email or not, regarding, it was my error, it must have gone into my junk mail. The 5720 title search from Alan.
Oh, yeah, I saw it come through, but I haven't had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, and basically, he sent that back in June, and I must have deleted it, because he said, I'm gonna resend it, and it still went into my junk mail, but I looked for it and found it this time, so.
That wasn't really the title search that we were looking for, that was just kind of a comment.
Right.
That wasn't really
Yeah,
the
it just,
documents
it
that
was
were.
more or less, we were trying to find out what the mortgage balance was, and
Right.
he could only tell us that 168,000, I believe it was.
You knew that the whole time.
Yeah, we knew that the whole time.
Yeah, but he's making a recommendation that we rent the unit, finish fixing it up and rent it, because he said this could take years. This bank seems like they're not interested at all in this unit. And they may have written it off. I don't know how we would ever find
But
that
we don't
out.
even know what bank that is. We
Yeah,
don't even know.
Yeah, it's,
Still don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking for the actual title search. Not, yes, we did one, but I would like to see, if we paid for one, I would like to see the title search.
Okay.
That he did.
all right.
Would you also ask Rosen this question too, Larry? Regarding, let's assume that we had a renter come in and take this unit on an extended lease agreement with us. And the bank later decides they're going to sell it out from underneath us. What protection does the tenant have that, in terms of us honoring our lease?
According to what our new documents are going to say, is the tenant has the right to live there until the lease expires.
Okay.
Right now, there's no protection.
So on the 5720, where are we now with the renovations? And
We've not done anything.
so it's just sitting
We
there.
have a new air conditioning unit, and we did the mold remediation, and that's it.
So we have no kitchen, we have no appliances, we have no toilets, we have no nothing.
No.
No travel in the immediate areas.
And we haven't, do we have any bids or prices on getting any of that stuff
I
replaced?
stopped doing that because we weren't going to, so.
We had decided at one meeting to put a stop to
Okay,
hold on.
Right.
Stop the bleeding.
Right.
Okay.
But once we replace the AC, the 3 other units are safe. So that was what we felt we had to do.
What's
So
the-
could we get rid of it now for 30,000? Can we just dump it?
We can't sell it. We have title, but we don't have the deed.
Why don't we have the deed if we have the title?
Because the bank has.
But I thought he
first
thought the
rights.
bank had written it off, you thought.
Well, no, I said, we don't know.
Oh,
They
we
may
don't
have,
know, we
yeah.
don't. How do we find that out? Rawson can find that out?
I don't know whether he can or not, but I'll ask.
Okay.
I bet you
We
someone
still don't
can.
know.
Someone should be able to. Someone.
Or, here's what we can do. We can ask a title company to do it for us without going through Rawson. If that's what it's gonna take, $250 you can have a title search done, right? Is that how much it costs to do a title search or title, a full
So
change?
it's up to $300.
Yeah, $300, we can do a whole
It's cheaper than
title
Rawson.
change.
Cheaper than Rawson.
Tell them, give me the word and I'll
That's a good
request it.
suggestion.
Rebecca, what are you proposing? Don't we have title right now?
Having the certificate of title and owning the property is 2 different things.
Oh,
from
yes,
what
I
read.
understand
Right.
that. But what would we do by having a title search?
Because we don't know who, the bank is that actually owns the building. We don't know who owns it. And apparently Rawson hasn't dug deep enough to figure out,
And we want to know what the actual balance of
Right.
what was owed, like that $168,000 figure, that's from the original note. Well, there's been years have gone by, that could have, how
Been
much of it
paid
has
down,
been
right?
paid down? is what we
Well,
want
he's
to know.
saying that nothing has been paid on it.
he's guessing, he doesn't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
any bank would give you an itemized, here's what's, I mean, let's start the process.
But would the
Okay.
title company give us the ownership information?
Yeah.
They would.
Can we vote on that finally, do something
Well, we
with
can
that?
call them and ask them. Call them and ask them.
The title's gonna end with us, because we have the title.
Right, but we want to see, because we're
The
trying
deed,
to
we want a
sue,
deed.
well, so we're trying to make a claim against this part. That's where the quiet title stuff started. It's like to tell everybody, broadcast it saying, if you got a claim on this property, you need to step up now or you lose your right. So then we know that if we go to spend money on this unit, we're not going to get screwed.
Right.
You know, so, but then
Rawson stopped the
but then
quiet title.
they stopped the quiet title because he had his reasons, and we still don't know how much money is owed on that property, and we don't know the actual who can make that claim. That thing has been sold like a dozen times. It's been transferred and transferred and transferred. We just want to know who holds the right to make any claim.
The deed.
Okay.
So we can go to them
So
and
you wanna
say,
file a
So,
You wanna
let
Yeah,
me,
let me
let me ask
just,
you
let
a
me just,
question.
yeah, one
Yeah.
second, I'm gonna answer his question. On the reason Rawson stopped the quiet title, if everybody recalls, is we decided
we
we better stop it because it might throw a red flag up. Let's just fix it and rent it and let them find out 2 years from now after we get some of our money back.
But yet we're not even doing that.
But
So
right,
what do we do?
right, that's what I'm saying.
And we're
That's
gonna-
what
But isn't the deed filed with the city or the state? Isn't the deed?
I mean, there has to be a deed on the
There has to be-
property.
Who is the owner of record at the?
Yeah, with the deed
Who's the
filed
owner
with
of
the
record?
city.
We actually
Yeah.
don't know. It's-
Well, we
There's
should be able to
exactly
find
what a
that
title
out.
company
It's
would
been-
do.
Here's
They
what
would
happened in
Yeah.
2006,
They would go
7,
to the
8,
records.
Right,
2006.
you're right.
Only what's been recorded can be.
One at a time, please.
Let our homeowner speak because she's really knows
Actually,
what
she
she's
doesn't have
saying.
the right to speak right now, because
Well,
we're
she-
conducting a board meeting.
Sorry,
right
she
now.
was
So in
I'm sorry, she had a
2006,
valuable
8, and
contribution,
9,
sorry.
That,
She did
the
that.
original mortgage that the homeowner took out was bought and sold probably like 8 times. And I showed that to Randy. It was like we went through the records of Palm Beach County and saw where it was bought and sold, bought and sold, bought and sold. So whoever, we don't know who it ended with. We don't know who ended up with the mortgage. So even the mortgage company, because so many foreclosures were happening to them, they may not even know that they have the mortgage on that place. I mean, seriously, there were so many foreclosures and so many, and it was just that time between 2006 and 2009, they may not even know that they have that mortgage. And it went,
We were so concerned that when he filed for quiet title, he was sending it to the wrong
bank.
Well,
bank.
because he couldn't
and
figure it
therefore-
out either. He sent it to Texas, and then they said, no, it's not us. There's a bank in California that owns it.
Well,
That's what I'm
that's what's
saying.
bringing up
That's
the
what
whole
I'm
issue of
telling
we
you.
need to
But
find
there has to
out.
be the
by-
last deed, the last time
There
the
has
deed
to
was
be a
filed.
chain of title that shows who
But
holds
but
this
my thing is,
finally.
if we've already paid Rawson's office for a title search, and it's, you usually get a big pack of documents like this, going
Oh,
back to the
I'll see.
beginning of time, going back to the Bergen DeVos owned it, then we go, it'll go back and it'll give you every legal document that was ever filed against that.
Who's paying the
Okay.
taxes?
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah,
Who's
who's
paying
paying
the taxes?
Exactly.
Because we took the
We took
certificate
title to it, yeah.
When did we start paying taxes on it, Larry?
Well,
We
actually,
got
not
the
yet, 'cause we only took
No.
title in February.
No,
Yeah,
we're-
this year.
Most places
Maybe the county will take it from
Because
here.
it could wind up, somebody could come in and buy, if this thing has got a tax lien on it, in West Palm Beach, they could come in and buy it under a tax lien.
My guess is if they weren't paying the mortgage, they weren't paying the taxes.
Can you
We-
want me to check on the tax?
Well, maybe we ought to get Rawson to just exercise some legal finagles and find a way for us to chase that title.
There is a law.
But that may take out-
3 years. you can own it.
Now, he said that even if he gets to the bank that has the mortgage, they're probably not gonna tell him what it is.
Which, that's what brought us to, like, we just cannot, there's gotta be a way to find out what the balance is on that, what's over.
Larry, may we make a brief exception to the rule and let this homeowner, she has real knowledge of what we're talking about, give her a minute to explain it.
She'll have a moment. Let
Yeah,
us
we're
conduct
gonna
our-
save time. Save your thought.
She's out of
We
it now. She's
definitely
seen
wanna
we
hear from
discouraged
you.
her.
We definitely wanna hear from you, so save your thought. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the treasurer's report. Michelle?
May I jump backwards? We never had a vote from the board to accept the changes to documents.
Can you hear me
I don't
okay?
think we're okay.
We're,
I
with
don't
the
think we're
minutes?
okay with the way,
Right,
the minutes,
No, the amendments.
because I don't think
No,
they're
we're not-
right the way they are.
right, right.
Yeah, we're going, that the board's going to move forward with it or anything. Okay.
Well, we
Alright, so-
would move forward, but not as they're written.
No.
There's
So
some-
you mean what we
changes
received
do
from
we want
Rawson?
to make them? We need to find out because we can't delay this to the next meeting. We have to move on.
Can we do it on, by
So we're going to go
minutes?
back.
No.
Sorry, Michelle, we got to get some resolution here. Has everybody read them?
Are you referring to
I
Rawson's
mean, I think
letter?
they're fine. I don't know what
I
you say.
received this at 4:15 today.
I
and-
sent it to everybody this morning and I got
No,
an
I
email back
never-
from you
Yeah,
around
I read it
11 o'clock.
yesterday.
not at 11. I wasn't at my
I got it
computer at
yesterday.
11, so maybe
got
it's
mine
on
today.
space time.
I mean, I read through them all, but I would always.
I
read
was
through them.
not
I
able.
think it's okay.
Now,
There was a couple
I had
things
to
that
read
I
it
had to-
in the
that I would
office.
like to address about
All
it.
right,
I didn't have it printed out until Dee Dee handed it to me tonight
yeah.
to really read it. It's 13 pages. I need more than now to vote on it.
But Mary Lou, in the cover letter, he explains what's in all
I'm generally in favor, but we just discussed reasons why we can't approve it. Didn't we just talk
No,
about
we never
questions?
discussed anything
Questions
so
we have for
why-
Rawson. We
Well,
just-
I'm going to ask him to
Then
clarify.
we can't vote until he clarifies the questions, right?
Well,
Yeah.
then we'll be voting by email.
If Rawson says that's legal, then that's fine, but until he qualifies these questions, we can't
He
vote.
didn't get them to me until last night, and then I got them out to everybody first thing this morning, so.
I think if we took a consensus
No,
of
I
this
know, but
board
I'm
tonight
not,
with
there's
what
something
we have
I
seen
want
in this
added
letter,
to it. that
I think we're
Yeah.
all
That's
pretty
okay.
much in agreement that this is a positive and
Positive,
we'll
yeah.
probably go
Yes,
forward.
Oh, yes, I think it's a
So
tentative.
if we need a day to review it, and then we'll take a vote online and vote for the issues.
Yeah, as
I
long
have
as
no problem.
Rawson
I
says.
do, Randall has some
yeah.
questions, I think we ought to know what they are.
All right, so
that we,
what I need to do is write down everybody's questions so that I can
This
get
was
it
like
answered.
something that's really important, that this all just got dumped on us literally in the last
It's
24
very
hours.
That's right,
But
yeah.
I
It's
don't,
pretty
don't rush it through so much that we miss something that's very important.
Thank you.
We're never gonna have another
Thank
chance
you.
again
All right,
to
so-
do this. I
Thank
mean,
you.
we've
All
been
right,
waiting for how
read
many
it.
years? It's
How much time,
years we've been
when
waiting
are
to
you
do
gonna
this.
get back to me with your question?
I already gave you my question by email. You said yes, it was a good idea, so.
Well, it is, but our documents already address that.
Exactly.
We can have as many as 7 or as few as 3.
What are we talking about?
board
Members of the
members.
board, yeah. Oh, the documents clearly state that.
Yeah, so
No
there's
fewer
there's
than
no
3,
way
no more
we
than
can-
7.
There's no way you're gonna say that we can only have 5.
Yeah.
No, but you can have 5.
We can. You can.
You
but
can.
you don't- it doesn't have to be in our
You
document.
can have 7. and
As
there's
long as you have
There's
a
no- in
minimum
other words,
of
there's no need
3
to
or a
change it.
maximum of
So
7.
it's already in there.
It's in
I thought we
Yeah.
had addressed that.
It's there, it's
Oh, no,
there.
it's
It actually
clearly in the
changed
document.
Originally from 5 and there was an amendment to make it to 7, but you don't, that's just,
I
you
got a
allowed to
guide.
have 7. You don't have to have 7.
Okay.
The state says you gotta have at least 3.
Right.
Yes,
We can have 5.
we can't, we
However,
can't legally
at the
function
last-
with less than
At the very
3.
last board meeting
And
of
more
the
than
year,
7,
Right.
that
period.
can be addressed, saying that next year, there's only going to be 5
Okay,
vacancies.
so, but
Then that could be
I'm just
voted
gonna
on.
stress that, give us a little time to like think about maybe something that we've missed, and everyone needs to
How
just
about,
have.
is everybody comfortable with getting your questions to me by next Tuesday?
Well,
or
Can I
Wednesday?
just ask, what's the hurry right now to do this? I mean, is there a deadline?
I thought the
that we have
fences
to
and
meet?
things were far more important.
Is there, no, I'm just asking, is there a deadline?
All right, so what we're saying is we don't want to amend our
No,
documents.
That's not what I'm saying,
we
I'm
have-
asking the
That
question.
is critical, right, we're at 28% rentals. I get people that call or email me every day wanting to know what's going on in the community before they make a purchase.
Okay, so
They're
if we
looking
approve,
at 1 or
so if
2
we approve
units,
this,
some
then we
3.
still have to come up with the idea of, are we gonna mail it out, or are we gonna, or are we gonna?
Correct, deadline of mail.
Well, I definitely going to mail it
So
out.
then, what's the timeline on how long does that take?
Usually it's
You
about
have 90 days.
I have a suggestion to save money. we have a budget that's coming up, and there'll be a budget meeting, and we mail the,
No,
excuse me,
too
we,
much information in one envelope and it confuses everybody. And people just toss it aside. They're like, that is way too
I
much
agree with
information.
that.
okay.
It's too much,
Okay.
too much, too much in
Okay.
one envelope.
Which is another reason to get this done.
But I
I'm
would,
not saying I won't, I'm not saying that we can't vote by email in the next
no,
couple
but
of days.
there's
but I-
definitely.
No, I'm saying a week.
Okay, a week, but I just think
Can
that,
we do this?
go ahead.
Can we approve this in theory, based on the letter?
That's,
Yes, we can.
I like the letter. I don't understand all the legalese behind it, so I
Right.
would like to have a little time, like Rebecca and everyone, to review it again.
Exactly.
Can we approve it in theory? And then, because before anything goes out, we're gonna wanna make sure the letter is absolutely perfect.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because there was something there I just wanted, I
That we all
thought
agree
needed to
upon
be.
via email before
the
the letter
verbiage
goes out.
needed
And- and-
Well, the letter, he's
Yeah.
already given us an example of the letter he would write. It's in there.
Right.
So
That's why I said in
if you
theory.
want to make changes, then we need to let him know what they are. So we'll give him a week, and if people get back to me by next Wednesday, that's plenty of
Yeah.
time to read it, digest it, and suggest any
Well,
changes.
providing we get Rawson's answers in a timely
Okay.
manner.
So
Yes.
so Michelle, you want to make a motion to approve the proposals in Rawson's letter, and then with the stipulation of any amendments?
Well, subject to the questions that are
Right.
going to be, yeah, I mean, we're all sitting here, you didn't hear us, I don't think, Michelle, but
Yeah,
Joe,
it's
and we
a
were
good
all
idea.
saying that we're all leaning toward it, definitely.
Right, right.
But because there's-
Yeah, we just,
Yeah, but because there are some important qualifications needed, I don't feel comfortable voting for something until it's in black and white, and then it's a go.
Michelle, do you want to state that motion so I can?
okay, how about if we approve this letter pending the answers to the questions on the table and a
Why don't we just
acceptable
wait a week
review
and
for
see
board
this?
members once those changes are made?
Well,
Yes, we can, we should.
But why can't we just wait a week and have Larry email us all of Rawson's answers and then vote by email,
Well,
and
that's
it's
why I'm
done?
going to need the questions before I can email you the
Well,
answers.
you vote, Larry will give, Randall has questions to give you.
I don't
yeah,
necessarily
but
have
this way,
questions, like there's certain
we have an
verbiage that I
official.
Yeah, there's verbiage that I haven't had time to absorb and read.
All right, so everybody read it, take a week, absorb it, and then let me know what your questions are, and I'll get you the answers
You've
within
got
2
some
days.
questions as well, right? Didn't we were discussing?
We just
earlier?
wrote
Well,
down
I
some
only had one
questions.
question about the parking spaces. It doesn't
But there was
state
something
anything, but
else,
it's in
too.
our documents, so
It
I
is in
think
our-
we're covered.
Right.
But that's just a question that I'm going to ask him, and he's going to say, yes, it's covered
If
by...
you look at documents, it's all covered.
Yeah,
It's very
two
good,
assigned-
very good
two assigned
amendments.
parking
We
spaces.
should
I mean,
accept
here,
them.
here
I think
we
they're
are.
I
This
think
is
they're
what,
great.
this is what really aggravates me at times. Here we are, sitting down, discussing why the latest verbiage in the new communities isn't good enough for Sandalwood Lakeside.
Nobody said that, but I didn't even ask a
Well, I mean,
question. But
don't-
you all, some of you had questions, and therefore we need
Well,
to
what-
Okay, let's
answer.
move on then. and
okay, we
we'll get you-
really need to move on this motion
okay.
that Michelle has made,
Yeah.
okay?
So make a motion to revisit, I'll make a motion that we revisit this next Tuesday after we have been able to submit.
Make it
our-
Wednesday,
Make it Wednesday.
Okay, so, make a motion that by next Wednesday, we have all of our questions into you, correct?
Yeah.
And Rawson has an opportunity to make whatever,
Changes
he answers
need
those
to be
questions
made or-
and makes revisions as necessary, depending on those questions?
And I'll have the answers back to you by Thursday.
Okay, and then we can vote on Friday.
Okay.
Is that cool?
That's all right.
All right, so we make a motion that we get our questions to Larry by Wednesday, he'll have the answers to us by Thursday, and Friday we vote yea or nay via email.
Okay.
I second that motion.
Okay. Thank
All in
you.
favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passed.
Natalia, did you say?
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
she did.
Yeah, she said that.
I even for without any.
I have my head down ready, so sometimes I just need.
I think it's all perfect from
It's perfect,
from my first read last
Yeah.
night. However, I just don't want this to all of a sudden go to the printing presses and all we realize like, oh, wait a second,
No,
we should have, you know.
I agree.
Like,
Well, I
just got
think we
this.
need to reread our.
We don't need to tear it apart. I think it's pretty damn
No, I
going
think
I just
good.
move forward.
Read our
Here's
governing
what he
document
did, so as
to
everybody
be sure
understands.
we understand
He
the changes.
deals with a lot of associations. He took
Correct.
the one that, he said the verbiage is current, up to date, and he's
Right.
incorporating it into our antiquated documents. But I can understand you want to digest it, and you want to see if you have questions, and if you do, we'll get answers.
Here we go.
All right, fair enough.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Okay, now Michelle, you're up. Treasurer's
Okay.
report.
As of August 31st, our total assets are $1,175,905.27. Our total accounts receivable owing is $187,218.30. And this is a slight increase from last month of $943 and change. Right now, we have as of August 31st, we have $611,808.95 in our total cash reserve. As we're looking at this fencing project and the repair project, that's what I would suggest.
Can't hear you.
Wait.
Did you move away from your computer? She was shift.
Can you hear me?
Okay, there you are.
You're back.
Sorry. I was moving, you know how that goes. Okay, our fencing reserves, just our typical fencing reserves are $156,550.71, and that's to August 31st. Okay? Every month, we deposit money into that reserve account. So we will have an additional $25,000 deposited into that account from September to December of 2018. Okay? We have other reserves that we can discuss accessing as there's a line item 3302, which is for painting/parking. I would get for paint. And we also have reserve interest of $2,663.75. So total possible funding for the fencing project right now that we have in cash is $225,000 and change. Now, in light of the fact that the person that we elected to start some of those fences that needed little or no repair is going to be say we had maybe 9 fences, $440,000 or $440. I'm guessing that most of the fences will come in at maybe about 400, and some of them maybe slightly more. So we could conceivably be able to do this whole project, a large majority of this project, just with the money we have at hand. But then we also do have other surplus dollars from previous years that we could put to this project to complete it. So I think that we're in good shape with regard to fencing.
Okay.
And then just out of curiosity, because Larry had mentioned that they were going to, the bank was possibly going to foreclose on unit 5737 that we rent out. So I just did a quick tally. The delinquency owed on that unit to date is $34,803.69. We've rented that unit from April of 2016 to date, so we've made $32,505 on it. And then the expenses that we paid from April in 2016 to date, we just recently had to replace the air conditioner in that unit. So the expenses that we had to pay were $9,923.39. So of that amount owed, we've recouped $22,581. It hasn't been foreclosed upon yet, so it's conceivable slow as the banks, then we might actually recoup the whole amount, the original delinquencies upping and possibly even come out ahead.
Well, we could come out ahead if we get these rules changed in our governing documents, because the bank will have to pay us the full $34,000. Then it's worth our while. Okay.
May I ask you?
This play when you're talking about the 5720. If we got those rules changed, if we did, and we were able to get our back assessments on that would definitely be worth our while to go ahead, fix it up, and run it out.
Right, but we got to get the rules changed before we can guarantee we're going to get the back assessments.
So that basically is it.
May I ask a question about the financials, please?
Go ahead, Mary Lou.
Thank you. Michelle, under maintenance is where I saw that we were dramatically over budget in several categories, which has me concerned because year to date, the variance through August 31st, we are $66,282 in arrears of our budget, behind in our budget.
We're not in arrears, yes.
Yeah, we're over budget. We're over budget. Correct. Okay, sorry. But the point is that where I'm concerned is that we have at least three categories, the one of which, of course, we know is my favorite pet peeve, the lights, the new lights.
Yeah.
We are $24,880 over budget in that category of building lights. We are we are $47,787 over budget through August 31st on building repair maintenance. And there's another biggie. Under irrigation parts, we are $17,889 over budget. Now, my point being that I think with next month being budget prepare month for the November budget meeting, etc., that we need to really address breakdown maintenance to reassign the...
I totally agree. And there's a couple other areas, even in reserves.
Yes.
And I didn't pull it up in front of me, Mary Lou, but there's a couple other items. I think it says in the reserves, trees and infrastructure.
Yes, right.
Okay? So, I mean, we could break that out. Because I can't remember, maybe there's like $175,000.
Yeah, but that's been building up. Believe me, I know this one from serving in 2011,
Right.
12, 13. That was purely for, it says trees/infrastructure, but
Right.
the focus was the trees, and it was the
Trees.
building of money
Yeah.
to remove and replace all the problem ficus trees. I mean, we've been
Yeah.
talking about it for years. And there are what are uprooting our concrete and breaking water lines and whatnot. And maybe have something to do with...
Infrastructure, which is what the infrastructure...
Right, under trees, right.
To replace the plumbing and all that kind of stuff.
Associated with trees, right.
Right.
Yeah, and the building maintenance is 90% of it is clogged drains and roof repairs.
There's a lot of things that we did not...
We spend about $25,000 to $30,000 a month on roof repairs for roofs that are only 12 years old.
And it's not going to get better.
Well, no, but we are behind. You're right. Our annual yearly budget was for roofing repairs was $25,000, and that probably was not enough based on the fact that the roofs are 12, 14 years old. It probably was not enough money when the budget was prepared last year. But this is where when we need to sit down next month and really analyze and put the money in the right departments that really need it.
Right. And case in point too, there are a lot of items where we're greatly under.
Yes.
So, it all offsets. So, I mean, bottom line, we're in good shape. And yes, we need to address those items in the upcoming budget. And some of those areas, we're going to have to find a lot more money to put in, like for the concrete and the roofs and other big ticket items that we know are coming up.
Well, we have to talk about funding the reserves.
Okay, but that's really budget stuff.
Yeah, but no,
Yeah.
but I agree. excuse me, I am reading yes, I asked my question.
All right, okay.
I was given permission to question the August 31st financials to our treasurer, and she's been very kind to answer my questions. And I appreciate it. Michelle, thank you very much. Thank
Can
you.
I ask a question about reserve? Do we put in reserve, are you able to put in reserve money every month? Okay.
All right, the question is, Michelle, do we put money in reserves every month? We do, we put
Yes.
8,300 and some dollars every
But-
month.
$8,000, and
Right.
we have, I think that's one of the.
No, I talk about every month. Yeah.
Every month,
Yes.
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 Because now it showed that our expenses less 208,000, in income 179,000. It means we overspent 28,785. How we can put money in reserve if we spending more than our income?
Because it's in our budget to fund reserves.
Right.
It's in the calculation.
We do, with regards to the reserves, we are obligated. If we say we are going to put money in those reserves for certain
No,
things.
I understand if we have to put, we did not have money, how we can put?
Okay.
No, well, it's in the budget, so we have it, because that's part of our income.
Now, if we don't have it, we're going to wind up assessing next year, and you'll make it up, but the reserves have to be paid,
Right.
Yeah.
regardless of what income's going on. The reserve has to be paid.
If we even spending more than we're making, yeah.
Michelle,
Well, the budget, just again, we have other sources of income, and we have other resources that are not reflected in the budget.
But I just look at the document what I got with
I don't know
management
exactly
manager
what you're
report.
looking at.
what Dee Dee gave us tonight in our packet.
The summary that was in the packet that we all received from CAMS.
It's part of the financial.
This is if we were spending more than we were.
One last quick, 30-second question.
One quick one, let's go.
Yeah, we see I thought we had closed out storage, but now we're seeing every month a charge. Is that CAMS charging us to store our paperwork?
We do have probably about 30, 40 boxes that we had to keep because they were not yet
Right.
able to be thrown away. CAM stores them for $20 a month.
Okay,
So we budgeted $240. However, what we did not budget for was they had a bunch of documents to shred.
okay,
And extra money was the money that they spent to shred the documents for us.
That were older than the 7 years.
yeah, you have to keep them 7 years, right, I know that. By the way, UPS down in the Village Commons, okay? First week of October, you get your first 10 pounds free, and then it's 84 cents a pound to shred. It ain't a bad deal.
That for us last year, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you, Natalia.
All right, okay, thanks, Michelle. We're gonna move on.
Well, I got one of your questions in, Michelle.
Managers report, Dee Dee.
I'm going to be very brief since we're running out of time. We've got like 30 minutes. We have to be out of here. But basically, I've been working very hard on a cut above. Their mowing and maintenance itself have been poor. And I have already received 3 bids out of about 5 I'm looking for, just to get a feel what's out there. I didn't want to put that on the agenda this month. We were too full, and I want to make sure I get everything logged before we go that direction. They are taking me seriously, so that's a good thing. They came back after their mess of a mow last week, came back this week to try to correct, which there's still issues, but it does look better. Just quickly, of course, we've removed 3 alligator systems last week alone. We had 1 dead alligator a couple weeks ago that was in a drain. So the alligator signs are attracting the alligators.
Possibly.
Yeah. Of course, Cobra Environmental, you listened to him earlier. The paving, again, everything's on hold until the drainage is addressed in order to go ahead and move forward with the concrete. Trying to talk fast so we can get through this. Again, roof repairs, I think Campany finally caught up. We've spent so far year to date $50,614 on that. Plumbing repairs have been hideous. There's only been one weekend, was last weekend. I didn't get a call on a weekend for a plumbing issue. And we've spent over $20,500 on that. We have a major one being taken care of right now. That tree roots are in the main line. We have to take out some people's floor. They found they were having problems with the toilet. There was tree roots in their toilet downstairs. So that's going to be a huge mess because we have to do
ficus
it.
trees, bye-bye, ficus trees.
But that's giving you the one thing I do want to mention again. The hardwood trees do need to be done. I know we're at the end of season, but there are a lot of these trees that again are over people's patios and touching the buildings and that type of thing. They need to be addressed as far as the hardwoods. However, because there's been a lot of talk about removing ficus trees, I need direction from the board on which trees you want me to bid on removing to take them out of the trimming budget and on the removal. The tree that's giving us issues right now, I have bids to remove that one from $1,500 up. To have that one ficus tree removed and grind down, just so we get it out of this building that we are now having problems with. So if any of these tree people will reduce that removal price if they have more quantity. You're going to have all the equipment out here, and you're going to drop probably anywhere from $200 to $500 a tree if we choose more trees.
Exactly.
You know,
But we
because of
also have to
mobilization.
pick a replacement.
Dave,
because-
could you ask a cut above if there is any kind of a chemical or whatever that they could use, that once the tree roots are removed, that we could put something down into the root system to kill those roots from continuing to grow?
They shouldn't once they're ground.
That's right.
They
Once
should be
they're ground,
all the way
once they're
down.
ground.
They
I
don't
don't.
poison.
You have
Right.
on your property right now, your islands and everything. You've got tree roots that were never ground down.
That's right.
You've got mountains where tree roots are that should have been that whole area ground down.
Come look at my front lawn. They just mowed it
Well,
today.
Yeah,
The
let's
root-
not get off track. 'Cause
Well,
we
no,
are
but
running
it's
out
the
of time.
ficus root.
The
I've seen
The
the
point, the reason I make that is
Yeah.
the grinding that they did on the tree that was removed next to my unit
Mm-hmm.
was only down about 6-7 inches, okay? Because when they tried to do the plant, they had to move the location because of the roots over there. My only concern is that these ficus trees seem to be
They shouldn't
like
keep growing.
Superman, okay? I want to know, is there a kryptonite that we could put in that if those roots are
I'll ask
alive,
the question.
once it's ground down, will they eventually die?
I have
They
seen
will die,
studies.
yes,
They
I
will.
Yes, they're
Okay.
properly ground, they die, yes. I've done a lot of research on those over the years, yes.
All right, we're gonna move on now.
Quickly, just one thing, I have a recommendation. A landscape company, when I read you were going out for bids, I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They were referred to me by 3 friends where they live, they use them, and it's called Bermuda Landscape.
Didn't you? Is that the one you just handed to me? I know them well. They're not cheap.
Okay, well, apparently they're very, very good.
Yeah, they are.
And from what
heard
I've
that
heard,
stuff.
because 2 friends are in one community, one's in another.
And
So I just wanted to throw them out at
Question,
you
She's
as
got it.
someone.
She's got it, thanks.
No, this one's.
question about maybe.
No, this is
Yeah, I
Bermuda
received the
Landscape.
card
I
in
think
the
they're
mail
out by
from
you
them,
somewhere. I
and I
think
gave
they're
it
out
to
west.
Dave.
Yeah.
All right,
Can I have a question?
I just wanted to
about maybe-
quickly, we
Yeah,
got-
quickly. I have question about, again, many don't like these questions, but we pay $4,844 for 57 signs and half not installed. Where are the signs? Who will install them and where they are?
There's still signs in the maintenance shed. They're parking signs.
In where? In your warehouse?
No,
Where?
the maintenance shed.
In our
the
maintenance
In Memphis, yeah, it was only half installed, even less than half. In another question about people asking between buildings what now standing very close, they put new lights, very very bright. They in front of each other, and it's shine to people window to the bedroom. They don't let them sleep. They're complaining. They ask me question why they install such a strong light. You can make office there. It is blow on your unit, air conditioned unit, and many they have vegetation covered that sidewalk, and it really we could have our lights, what was installed 4 years ago, just change maybe bulb, it won't be so bright, but you can see everything. But now it's just waste, pay $160 for each light. And why we need this in 10 feet,
Where you come
two
up
lights.
with $860 for each light?
No, 157 or something. You-
155. Installed.
55.
That's labor and the light.
Yeah, but it's
Okay.
yeah, it's but what ask
Okay,
people
my
ask,
suggestion,
it's very bright to the
okay, I
bedroom.
understand. And here's how you sleep at night. You put blinds on your window.
No, understand,
Close
but
them and
it's
you won't see it.
Excuse me,
grow-
I have
We're not
associated.
gonna argue this
No,
point,
but I've
Mary Lou. We've
brought
got
this
to move
up
on.
before. More and more people,
Look it up.
as the new lights are being installed, are complaining that they're shining even though they have window treatment.
Window, yes,
If
it
you
won't help.
close your blinds, you won't see the light.
It all
Exactly.
depends
Yeah,
on
and
what
another
kind of
question.
We're
blinds
going,
you have.
listen, we're gonna make this community safer. We have enough problems as it is. The light, it could be like daylight out
Okay.
there, and I'd like it even better.
Okay.
But
All right,
where we
so-
put these old lights? Where would this spot was 4 years ago? It's a really good functioning lights.
Yeah,
Where did we put
and
them?
I brought with me the 2000.
All right, we're moving on.
This is lights. I brought this with me.
Well, okay, we're not worried about that right now. We're gonna replace them all,
Even though
even though.
in 2014
though,
financials,
because-
60 of them were replaced
Even though,
and are
yes.
4 years old.
Okay, so we're moving on. They will be replaced.
This why we
All right,
spending more than
next,
your.
Waste of money.
next is the fence project, and we're going to pick a color tonight. Everybody has 3
Yeah.
samples in front of them. There's an envelope,
Medium,
That's right here.
I want
It's
you
a
to
bag.
know.
bag,
This
okay.
isn't medium in my eyes, but this is what they're calling medium.
What did this say, medium?
This
Why would you do not
Tonight, we
choose
were
more
given-
colors,
the board was
like
given these,
a little lighter than
medium
that?
one. In
Yeah.
the voting
Why
online,
they choose such
medium,
ugly colors?
Light, medium, dark, medium one. These are the shades of medium.
Survey.
They want us to
Was
It's
came
not
back
medium. This is dark.
medium.
Yeah,
Everybody
it's not
wanted a medium
medium.
color.
This is
so
not medium.
This is why we chose a group of medium colors,
It
and
says
this is what the
medium.
board is going to
Okay, now,
choose.
But this is not medium. This is dark.
I
I think
know.
it's.
Actually, this was
It's
the
not
dark
medium.
right here.
okay.
This is dark.
But I'm
Here's
just gonna,
the example of what they call dark brown.
okay.
If
Larry,
you put the dark next to the medium, you can see the difference.
right, Larry, I'm just gonna point out one thing and then I'm out of it, okay? This is the original color charts back in June that Michelle brought to all of us. We all worked from those color charts, okay? Here, that night, Joe, Natalia, and I all agreed on 2 colors. And Joe initialed them, and I X'd them. Okay, this is medium, Larry, no matter how you look at it. This was light that you actually voted for, and somehow the whole thing changed.
Well,
even though
because-
4 of us voted. Hold on.
All right, go
But
ahead.
this is medium, and this is one that Joe, Natalia, and I all initialed as medium. If you hold these 3 to this, none of these are medium.
It's not medium, it's
These are
dark.
all down in the darker colors. This
Exactly.
is a medium. These are not a medium.
If somebody don't, maybe somebody
These are
don't
autumn
understand
colors.
colors.
These
I
are
don't
not
understand.
medium.
Seems-
Well,
See, people are shaking their heads, no, these are not medium.
Not medium,
Homeowners are
it's
saying
dark.
it's not medium.
It says medium right on it.
But they're not, when you look at a chart
but
that
we
gives you
don't-
a full, but this is the
let
company.
me see the one you picked that you say is medium.
This is what
This is
Joe,
medium,
this is
yeah,
your-
Yes.
this is what
Yeah,
happens
she
with
got
medium.
sent-
That's,
Brady sent
doesn't
it to
look
her
medium to me.
no, this was the night in June that we all worked together.
Stand up and show him what you mean.
No, Joe's signatures are there. Joe's signatures are there.
All right, don't keep using my signature.
I'm sorry.
We considered this and we
We
rescinded the
voted on
vote.
it, yeah.
The vote was rescinded, I'm going by the rescinded vote. My observations has not changed in terms of my color choice would be,
Beige.
but
Mansard beige, yeah.
This was the one
It's
that.
complement vegetation,
couldn't
it's
have
looking
this,
lit,
we really
upscale.
I'm gonna text you. Did you
These
say you were
are
gonna
not
text
this.
Dee Dee your answer?
Yeah, you want me to text you?
Yeah, text Dee Dee.
We're gonna pick,
Where's
we're
my
gonna pick
phone?
one.
Look, there it is.
Yeah. Here.
Okay.
Is this Sherwin-Williams?
Yes.
Yes, this is from the original night, the first night we started to look. I kept mine because
Because
Some of
it's-
us agreed on the colors and we...
There was no agreement, there was no.
It's
official-
bad
No, I said
choice.
some of us agreed on a
I'm just saying,
color.
Quit yelling at me, Mary Lou.
I'm sorry, I tend to
Before
speak
I
up.
swear to God, between the two of you,
We had a vote in June.
All right,
I swear to God, between
We
the
had
two
a
of
vote
you.
in June.
Quit, don't even put that in my face.
We voted in
Telling you
June.
right now,
We're
we're done.
colors.
Were you
It's
at the
only
June
two.
meeting? We four
It's
votes
dark.
for beige.
This is dark.
all right. Well,
What are we doing here?
we had a board member who agreed to get us the medium samples. If everybody was concerned, why did only one person agree to go get us some medium samples? Why didn't somebody else say, I'll get the medium samples?
Because we were told in writing, in various emails and communication, that Michelle, Becky, and Randall were working on the fences, not Natalia
You
or
don't let
I
anybody
or
else.
Joe. None of us were asked to bring samples. Had we been asked to do that?
I didn't ask them to bring samples. They took it
But
upon
we
themselves to go get
we
them.
were not asked to be.
We're voting, everyone put.
All right, well, at any rate, this is, it's,
Put the chip that you like in the basket. The color choice you like.
and we don't want to see it.
I don't.
Pass it around.
None of those is what we saw online.
Yes, see, you're here with this homeowner saying, none of these colors are what she saw online when she voted.
It's a medium.
Those,
It's
the
not
first of all, let me clear up the color online. The color online is not the colors that we're going to use. They were examples of light, medium, and dark. It was for shade choice only.
I'm not putting
The
one on.
board,
I'm not voting.
because that's what we work for free to do, is making the final decision. The most votes were for a medium shade,
Joe.
and that's what we've got 3 medium shades, and they say medium on them. This is what the fence committee brought to the board meeting tonight.
Yeah, the fence
As a
committee.
choice.
That's what you're saying. We were never asked to be part of the committee.
Yeah, you know, where you see medium, it's dark colors.
See,
I'm-
like, this
I
is
don't
dark,
know, sir.
this is dark.
This dark.
I consider this dark too. I wish I had my brown slacks on that are exactly this color
We have
tonight.
been
It's dark.
beating this
Isn't
horse
this dark? Would you call
months.
this medium, anybody?
No,
Would you call this
nobody,
you don't
nobody
medium?
say this
But you
medium.
don't have to.
I
vote
realize
on it.
we're going to have a vote on this tonight,
You
but
don't
I
have to
really
vote
would
on
like to have everyone here respect the fact that if
No,
we're
it's
talking
orange.
about
I can't
shades,
stand orange.
we really are all in the darker
I'm
shades
abstaining.
with these 3 samples to
Yeah.
choose from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's dark.
So it doesn't really take into account that we did have another choice,
Right.
which was a slightly lighter shade, but it's not being reflected.
Right.
So I'm prepared, if the board wants to go ahead and make this vote, go right ahead.
I'm not
Okay.
voting.
I will not vote into it. It's not
I
true.
mean, there's like
Absolutely
20,
ridiculous.
you could have 20 different medium shades, and then what would you have? You'd have chaos.
But it's too dark.
Oh, yeah,
It's
chaos,
too
shit,
dark.
come on. Randall.
This color is
Talking
called
about 20
desert
shades,
wood.
got one
This
shade
is
up.
called
This is not
desert
that
wood.
dark. This is a is this not a medium color?
Now, I would
No.
Is
call,
that not a medium
It's
color?
not medium.
What
not
is it?
until
It's
you
darker.
get down in
Darker,
here.
look at that.
Yeah.
Compared
Yeah.
to this, it's lighter.
Compared
Well, I mean,
to
what do you?
that.
Well, how about comparing it to this one that we
Is
all
this not
liked
medium?
initially?
The one that says-
Why we not put that? Why we not put that neutral color? Nicer. Why we need this red? People
Why not
have
that
purple
one?
umbrella.
Why not
People
that
have this green vegetation. There's a
We're
lot.
voting. We're voting.
Beige.
So, well, I voted. Here's,
I'm not voting. Did you vote?
I will not vote.
No, I'm not voting.
I will
Natalia,
not vote.
you're not
I
voting.
don't want. So people blame me after. It's disgusting.
3 of us are not
No,
voting.
no, no. It's bad taste. Absolutely. People
3
don't
are not
understand
voting.
what is it. Real medium.
We need
do
more
we have
discussion.
Michelle's vote?
She's gonna text me, I've got the
Because we
samples.
never saw these colors till tonight, folks. 3 board members never saw these colors till tonight. Why should I vote?
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't see them until tonight.
And you
You like it
accept
this
them.
kind of color?
You accept them versus what you
He's just
originally
not here.
voted beige.
We've been working on this for over a year.
But you
But we
originally
want to have
voted on
upscale
beige.
elite community, so look beautiful,
Yeah.
not look something I don't know. It's terrible.
Second color down where Joe initialed it, I checked it off, Natalia agreed, was the colors
This
that
did not
we...
comply with the bulletin board that we put up.
That's right.
And nor does it, even allowing for the fact that there would be some slight differences in the shadings. To go to a lighter color and call any of these medium is a joke.
Thank you.
These are not mediums.
Yes, I agree.
Got it.
Even people agree.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, that's what Joe said.
It's not only, Joe said, it's our residents.
Homeowners here tonight, Michelle, are
No, I
saying
didn't
it's
say
not,
that.
well, a couple said it's
All
not.
right, I have a question. Of the homeowners that are here, how many of you went online and gave your preference?
You guys
Well,
didn't give
we
me
did, but it wasn't that kind of medium.
See, but it wasn't that color medium. Thank you,
I can
sir.
care less what
Thank
color,
you.
but
He doesn't care.
But wait a
it's
minute,
kind of
but
darker mid, that's a
Wait,
darker
let Eric
color.
President Lawrence, it stated whether it's dark, whether it's medium, whether it's light. They specifically stated that that would not be the color that was chosen
Yes,
there.
it does.
We have been, so we're going on medium. I would prefer for everyone to take the time to vote. As a homeowner, we've been waiting a year over to try to have
Over a
this
year.
done. We have voted to have you guys represent us. So
Exactly.
let's go ahead and let's vote and get it done. There are more things than just the fence color.
I just want to recommend that you stop using the term
I mean,
medium,
it's not
as it
dark.
doesn't mean anything unless it's referenced to some other
Exactly.
Well,
thing.
and these colors are
I
named.
consider myself a medium guy. Dominic may consider himself a medium guy. Which of us is more
To
medium?
me, that's like a
And
black.
you have medium tan pants.
May I look my
Ma'am.
already got
All right, we got 4 board
And you're-
members voting.
No, we're not voting.
You're not
All right, so,
Natalia's not voting, Joe is not voting.
all right,
So you have 4 members, 4 vote. And if you all 4 didn't pick the same color, you don't have, or 3 of you have to pick the same color.
there's the 4.
All four
Medium
of them.
brown.
Oh my
What
God.
kind medium brown? Can you
Oh,
show,
All
can
right,
you
so
show us?
that's the paint color.
Thank
And
you.
one of those belongs.
Can you show
I
what you
think you're gonna have a lot of
exactly?
homeowners unhappy.
Very unhappy, including
Now, the
3
next
board
one,
members.
This is medium, guys.
Wait,
hold on.
This
Go
is
ahead.
medium. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we will never make
No.
everybody happy, and you know.
No, but it's dark brown.
Okay.
Did you see?
I'd like to hear what Michelle is saying here, Natasha.
She says you can't make everybody happy, and this could go on forever.
It's brown.
Right, exactly, so we,
You tried to do it 100 different ways. And
But why mislead people? This is what exactly brown. What is what on website? It was dark brown. Why mislead people? This is dark brown.
This,
All right.
this was on the website right here. This exact,
All right.
exact.
I would like, I realize it's
But
not
the bulletin board was not on the board. But
Yes,
not
it was.
as
This
the,
was
not
the
as
exact
medium.
one.
It's not
What did they call
Did you
that?
want to keep these?
That wasn't medium,
No, what did they
That's
call
No,
that?
you keep them. This is-
Okay, I got it.
not
No, that's
medium.
all set.
Oh, I don't know, I don't need
And
these.
that's lighter, that's darker than
I would
that.
like to ask one question, and I think I asked this of your office, okay? I wanted to ask who
just want
composed the
Fussing and stuff.
Well, you
bulletin
have to
that went on
understand,
the board
where I'm
regarding the description of the colors?
I only care about the goddamn.
Randall.
We said that.
Well, she did the letter, he did the bulletin board, and that should go.
All right, so we've chosen a color, so that's over. Now we gotta choose a company or 2. And my suggestion, and you know what my suggestion is, we wanna get this project done.
I know.
We have one guy who gave us a very good price, he's one guy. He's gonna do some work in here. We have another company that gave us a very good price, he's $5 higher than your guy. But everybody else was out of the ballpark. So my suggestion is we use these 2 companies. One start at one end of the community, one start at the other, and meet them wherever they meet.
What's been the holdup with getting Mark J?
Yeah.
I need
The color.
that's fine, Andy.
I need to
By
sign a
the
contract.
way, do you need the color of the pump houses, the beige?
Yes, I was gonna bring that up before this ended. I wanna stay on one thing.
All right.
I got it right here.
Yeah, and Mark is gonna do the pump houses. He gave us the best price on the pump houses.
Yes.
And we voted for
And we
that.
voted that they're gonna be the same color as the mansards.
Right.
Yeah, I got that.
And our new maintenance shed, by the way, is
Is beige. That's
Beige.
why we're doing the pump house is
right,
beige.
right,
So all the utility on the property are the same color.
right. Okay, so
At least we got that.
what are the 2 companies, Mark and?
Mark Jarowski and Landell Incorporated,
Is that
Your
the,
I just-
vote is,
from Mark.
that Mark's got it there.
All right,
Yeah.
so
You need to sign.
Mark is gonna, we can sign Mark. And I want this project done, and I know the residents do, because it's like it's been going on forever, so,
Do you want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we pick Landau Inc. as a second company to work on our fences.
Are they all using the same paint?
We supply the paint on both contracts. All we're buying is their labor, and they're $5 a part. So,
Well, are they just doing painting?
Pressure wash, painting, and
Well, now-
replacing planks.
Now we have to deal, are they gonna pressure wash equally so that the shades
Right.
match?
Right.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think there's going to be that much of a difference in between.
You don't think,
well, they got a pressure
we're gonna
wash
spend
first.
hundreds of thousands of dollars, we need to be sure rather than we don't think.
Right.
Okay?
Correct.
The pressure washing is a key to making sure that the shade of paint takes and are equally the same throughout the community.
Isn't
We
there-
use
isn't
one
there a
source
sealer?
or another, but not both.
No?
We're not sealing? Oh, I thought we were
No,
sealing.
it's the paint that they had been proposing
Yeah.
Get the cover.
already
I
had
thought you can
the
pressure wash paint.
Sealer in
a
it?
sealer in it. It's actually not a sealer, it's a, what is it?
It's staining.
It has a
the
tint,
pressure
but it's,
We're
what's
going
the
with
word?
Sherwin-Williams, correct?
Yes. so-
Well,
Dealing
yeah.
with this guy for months now and promising him we're gonna buy his paint.
I'm
They will sort
in
it
favor of
price
using
on
They
just
will
one
not
company.
stain, they
on
will
the
paint.
You guys, we just had one person talking.
Right,
What did you say, Randy?
That we're going with I was asking, I'm trying to confirm that we're going with Sherwin-Williams paint. Since I've been dealing with, two representatives of the manager for months now at Sherwin-Williams and telling him we're buying his paint, give us a good price.
yes.
There's gonna be an oil primer that's gonna be tinted to the, whatever color we're.
Primer is the
have.
word I was looking for.
And then the second,
Oh,
the
we are
finish coat
priming, yeah, I
is
thought so.
now the color.
Yeah,
So it'll
so
cover.
I don't-
And you pressure clean everything and it's gonna cover.
And it's gonna come out the same, because
Yeah.
it's pressure cleaned and the paint has the tint in it.
Well,
Larry,
providing
I've never
that
seen
the...
two companies ever do
Yes,
anything the same.
me too, and
My
besides,
point being, all I want CAMS to do here, since this is gonna be under your control,
It's supervised.
okay?
No.
Is to check the units as they're being done, be sure that we have compliance of equal quality.
Joe, may I
And
say
if they
this?
aren't, we're gonna hold somebody accountable. Because
PSI,
I do not agree that using two companies is a good.
I don't either.
Well, one guy's gonna take 2 years to finish our community. Is that what we want?
Let's just start.
But we
we
cannot
should've
finish
started
Which
2 months
company
ago.
are we dealing with?
Larry,
Is this-
This guy has 4 people that'll be working on them, and that guy has 1. I have no objections, but one guy can't handle all
I
of it.
understand
No,
that,
of
but why
course
can't we have a company that is equipped to
Has
be
8 or
able to put
10
a number of
people
people
in-
They all
yeah.
got the price what he wanted.
Pressure
But
cleaning
they
is
all,
pressure
they all
cleaning.
came in.
Yeah,
$1,000
we wouldn't have enough money.
may I jump in about one thing with the PSI, the power washing?
Right.
If the two companies use different pressure, then we're going to have different results.
We'll make
So
sure
we
they
have to be
both
sure the
use-
PSI is being used identically.
On their pressure
And then
washers.
we have fences that are painted and fences that are stained. The ones that are painted are going to be very difficult to get the color off.
No, you don't need take color off, they put primer on top.
Well, we hope that but if their fence is
We're
this
not gonna
dark
prime. This
color,
paint is primer.
dark
Yes,
color,
it's
and they can't power wash it off,
No, they cannot.
primer will mean nothing.
They will not power wash.
They have to power wash, they have to pressure wash every fence first, right? I thought we voted on every fence would be pressure washed first
If
and
needed.
then repaired.
Pressure wash.
No, it's not a.
Are we priming these fences?
Paint
first?
will-
No, but I'm saying that based on my own experience, pressure washing will take stain off
But will
more
not take
effectively than it does paint off, that's all I'm saying.
Paint will not take, they will not take paint off, it's
Yeah,
impossible.
they're gonna match.
Order in the court.
Order on the court. All right, so,
That's enough.
all right, so I'm making a motion that we have this other guy work on one end of our community so we can get this project over.
Do you know some of us have never heard of this other company?
I've
that you're
never heard
talking
of
about?
this one. So what's the difference?
I will give my second to the motion.
Thank you, Joe.
To
All
what?
in
To
favor?
use two companies?
Yeah.
All right, aye.
All right, so
Any nays?
I'll abstain.
Abstain too.
Okay. Abstain.
Motion passes.
Agree to fix the fence?
Motion passed.
By the way, what about the numbering on the
Well, no, first they're power wash, because power washing can
Well,
damage some of
mine's
the
ceramic.
old wood. Then they
It's not a
repair
front, it's a legal
whatever
thing
needs
that-
to be repaired
Yeah,
on
we
the
have to
fence.
have enough.
Then it's
Yeah.
sealed,
We're gonna
and then
remove
it's
them 'cause
painted.
mine is
It's a
falling
four-step
apart.
Yeah,
process.
well, we'll put new ones on it. I
Well,
think
your top
we've
rail
already
is
put
probably
some
already
on
on the
block.
list, but be sure
Is that
to send a
okay?
work
Or
order
no,
to
what-
Dee
on
Dee
the
saying
front.
that you need the top rail.
What color you want?
I want to match the fence, I don't want that
What
thing
is it?
sticky.
Well,
Well, you don't want your
well,
house
the owner-
I show the numbers, I do them in white, I mean, there is a,
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want
What's going on?
I
Well, there's like
compare
18
invoice
people
with
talking all
some,
the
All right,
time.
Michelle.
Of
Sorry.
Michelle can't make anything out, just like your guy on the telephone. He couldn't hear because everybody was talking. So, here's where we're at. We're gonna use two companies, but Joe brought up an interesting question. What about the numbers on the fences, the house numbers? That is that the association responsibility?
No, we all bought our own.
I think it might be a little too invasive if you start telling people they all have to have exactly the same number.
No, I mean, well, everybody isn't
No.
the same now. I think give freedom of choice, whatever
Right.
you want to use. I have a ceramic plate
So
on
do
mine
I,
because
so
you
do
never
I.
have to paint it.
Take
So
your
do
number
I.
off. Take it off prior, when the letters go out, Dee Dee, or don't you let them know they've got to prepare for
Yeah.
the fence to be pressure washed, and they've got to take everything off their fences?
Right, yeah.
But
Just we'll
those,
send them that they have to remove anything, especially house numbers have to come off, and then they can put them back on afterward.
my house numbers will be a problem, because they're ceramic like yours, but they're not screwed in because they were ceramic. They were glued on with some kind of
Oh,
super
mine are
glue or
screwed
something.
Are they gonna paint over those black,
Tape them off.
cable, I forgot what they call them, carriage strappings that we have on the fences?
On the bottom?
That's a good question. I would
You're talking
think
about bottom.
because they
I'm talking about the
spray
outside,
paint,
that faces the outside. They're gonna spray the handles and that, things are gonna, the color scheme's gonna change.
Oh, yeah, the hardware.
Oh, well.
No, they'll probably take that off.
They have to
Take
take
it
the
off.
hardware off.
You're gonna tape them off?
Take it off.
Take it, or
Do it.
either take them off or tape them, one of the two.
Yeah, they know that they have to do
The
something.
you're talking about the hinges and the latch. You're talking about the
Yeah,
latch and the
right.
hinges. No, we don't take those off. It's not our job. That's the
Right,
association's responsibility.
yeah. Okay, do you have any questions, Michelle? I'm sorry.
I would have priced that in my job if I was doing this thing. That's it.
Oh, I can't believe we're using two companies.
All right, we're gonna open up the meeting to our guests in the back of the room here if they have questions.
I got a quick question in regards to the paint. Hello, everyone. Nice to see everyone
Erica.
here.
Hi.
I had open house, so I was late. But my question is in regards to them doing the fences. What about the new hedges? Are they going to be certain to take care of them as well too, or should we cover them so they won't have them damaged as a result of the pressure wash? Because I'm gonna
The contractors will be,
that.
yeah. So you mentioned brand new hedges.
Due care.
They will be covering all that and taking care of that.
Okay.
Is
Yeah,
not a problem.
if they start out by destroying the hedge, they'll only do one or two fences. So-
Okay.
It's one of those
Alrighty.
things that, I lost my train.
Is this the color that won? Rockwood?
Landscapers also have to be contacted prior to
Oh.
work, because they have to cut away from the fences
Oh,
for the
gotcha,
bigger
gotcha.
ones. So-
And
Would you
and
make
they're
sure
going
that
to,
CAMS cuts
Oh.
not CAMS, that the ACA cuts the back of the hedges? Because they are not doing, in my area, I can tell you that for a fact.
Well-
I'm trimming them.
Well,
They do a
they-
lot
you
of
know,
things,
they-
but they
in
will
all
probably
honesty-
charge us more for a hard turn.
In all
trim.
honesty, we told them to do that back in June, and they were doing the backs of the hedges
Yeah.
in June, and we haven't moved forward on the project, and they need to be done again.
Okay, hold on.
Second part. what about if we want the insides done? How do we?
That
proceed with
will be on your flyer. When you
Okay.
receive a flyer and your schedule going in, you'll have the contact information for the company
Okay.
doing your fence.
Gotcha.
And you can contact them directly.
Okay.
So you
And then they
throw them a couple bucks,
will
they'll do the inside.
give you the price, I think it's $175 or something like
Yeah, I
that.
don't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's gonna be,
That'll be on you, but we'll replace the boards, that any boards that need to be
I can do it
replaced.
myself, but I don't feel like it. Let them do it. They're already doing it anyway.
have a lady inspect.
Guys,
Right,
get
with
them
our
where you
hands
can
up.
get a color so you can.
The inside boards are.
So we tabled the hardwood trimming, right?
Yes, it's tabled.
You can use any
Yeah.
color inside.
We have another person that needs to speak.
All right,
No, it's
I'm
it's
sorry,
not
go ahead.
that.
No, he said.
We have a homeowner wants to speak.
I already recognized her, come on, guys. Go ahead.
5419 54th Way, Joy Caldarella. Very quickly, I think you voted on this already, but I had a thought and I wasn't allowed to speak earlier. There was a lot of discussion about if that was really a medium. My thought is, what was the second runner-up in the online voting? If the
It was the
second
dark.
one was... Oh.
Dark,
Because
dark
I
is
was
the
thinking
second.
if it was light, then we could just go lighter and maybe try and please more
no,
people.
it was,
That
yeah.
was
Light.
But if you add light and medium together, do you beat dark?
We're not
No.
gonna
No,
discuss
because
this again. We're not going.
light,
not go down that
dark,
road.
Okay.
medium
done.
and
Well, Joy asked a question, a
It's
good
done.
question.
Okay.
Results.
Oh, yeah, let me just be
Anyone else? have-
Anybody else?
Right there.
One time we had $500,000 or $600,000 in due maintenance. Where do we stand with that now?
We still have the same.
It's a question.
Oh, past due,
Questions?
arrears?
Yeah.
You announced it already.
The question was, Michelle, at one time we had $500,000 or $600,000 in maintenance. Where did we spend
We
it?
had over $600,000 in arrears. Now we're at about 185. And we've been very aggressive. Honestly, I'll give the receiver credit because he did a lot to reduce that.
I have it right here.
What's that?
How much?
Oh, yeah.
What the new total is.
185?
You're close, 187. You were darn close.
But again, I think it's a sign of the time. People are doing a little bit better. We're also being a lot quicker to get people to pay up. When the amount is still small and manageable. Because for a lot of people, if you wait too long, they'll never get back on track.
Right.
So, I think it's good. I think it's going down. If we have a couple things in the works, it'll knock it down several $1,000s more, so.
Right, and I've instructed the attorney when they are in arrears by $1,000 or more, lien the property. That way we're sure we're gonna get paid eventually.
Right.
Okay, anything else? If not,
Okay.
I make a motion.
Wait, we have a lady who's
Oh, I'm
had her
sorry,
hand
go-
up.
all right, we said we'd
Okay,
wait.
I'll try to
till-
make this very brief. I want to say, I think it's wonderful the way you're changing the docks to protect the property and getting them up to date. But I have a question, and I think when you're putting the onus on the approving, having the buyer approved, rather than because the thing that you had with the renters, the owners of rental property, I'm an owner of rental property. And I think that I can manage, doesn't the responsibility fall on the owner regardless of whether they rent it out or they do not?
Well, that's-
$1,000, because I felt, like I said, I think I wrote you a letter, we've developers, I'm a broker, I've owned a real estate company, I've worked with title companies, and I just feel that I can manage my property better than you can. And
Well,
so
and I can-
was
I
that-
can appreciate
I'm
where you're coming
wondering
from.
about the legality of you not having every owner having to do that. If there
Well,
would be a prejudice, is that included with the documents that are being covered? I don't mean to cause a
It's-
problem, but I think there would be a legality there.
Well, there's not, because our attorney drafted this up. And I can appreciate your point, I know where you're coming from, but I'm also a licensed broker in Florida. I don't use it, it's been in escrow for years. But You have a responsibility as a homeowner, and no one should be more concerned about who moves into your property than you. But the association has the ultimate responsibility to make sure we know who's moving into this community.
But with the approval of the, being approved, it seems to me that it's a step over bound,
No.
having the tenant and the owner being approved.
It doesn't say that there's an approval process. It doesn't say it says we can deny approval, but with merit. The merit is sex offenders, people with felonies.
Yeah, sure.
Severe crimes, people you don't want. We don't want them, and I know you don't.
People that.
That's the only people, we can't just arbitrarily say, oh, you're bringing us a renter. No, we're not going to approve them. I've approved, you don't know how many rentals I've approved here. It's not the point of approving, it's knowing who we're getting. And that's why we have homeowners, landlords who rent and don't go through the association, and we're cracking down on that.
Well, you definitely should. I mean, because, that's...
Right, that's why we have that
But I mean,
process.
so far as charging an owner who has a rental $1,000 that you're going to hold when they are responsible for their property is my question. I don't want to take, I know you're over time here, but I just...
You have the option, you can get that $1,000 from your renter. But if you want to make it more attractive to rent it and you pay the $1,000, then if they damage, it comes out of your $1,000.
Well, I just, I will question that legally, but go ahead.
Well, you could hold that trailer.
You're more than welcome to question it, but we've already checked with our attorney, so we know we can do it.
Like a security deposit.
You're questioning the $1,000 by the owner, like yourself?
Right, it's your choice.
I'm a real estate broker as well. Practically every association is doing it now, and more than $1,000.
Yeah. We're one of the lower ones, and one of the problems we were having before we started this, people were coming in, damaging the property, leaving all their old furniture at our dumpsters, costing us money. It's not fair to the other homeowners that we're paying for your renters.
And living.
What about
That's
owners who don't? I mean, I'm just wondering, isn't the owner responsible? I mean...
But if the owner lives in New York and they're renting out places here, what recourse do we have? If they're renters,
the owner
put all their...
always knows first.
And yes, you are, as an owner, responsible. We're just making sure we get our money. You can be responsible and not pay. What
And there may never be an
legal
issue.
recourse
It
would
could
we
be the
have?
same $1,000 that rolls over for every tenant you have in there. You only have to
Yeah, as long as there's no violations, you only pay it once, and then at the end, you get it back. It's not like we're keeping it, it's only we're keeping partially if they damage anything. Or leave us with all their garbage to haul away.
Another concern I have, this lot of it says that you have to interview prospective tenants. I think that's a push over a little bit to
That's
interview.
kind of common.
Yes.
No, that's very common.
It is common?
We have the right to interview, and our management company handles the interviews. We don't do it. They.
We don't.
Joyce tells me all the time that she has them in her office. So what is she
When she
doing?
comes in, they come in with paperwork. She doesn't
For a lot of years.
Well, we have the right to interview.
There's that's tricky.
People violate, they get fined. They don't pay the fine, okay, then
One
all that crap is all stopped.
One more question.
One more question.
Larry, one more question.
Guys,
Go ahead.
Boys,
On the roofs, we had to pay, we totally renovated our property, and we had a lot of damages after we had all new paint, everything. The roof, they failed to put the,
Mansard.
no, the loop over the vent that went down to the bathroom.
Pitch pan.
Pinch fan.
Right.
And it went down into the walls, and we had to repay, have the roofer come. We found out, and the screen, the rat went down into, because there were no screens. Have they had all the roofs checked? I'm just thinking that may be something that may be a problem on a lot of other roofs.
We do
rain
have
came
roof
down.
inspection. We have a roof inspection company who's going around checking roofs for clogged drains and things like
That's a
that.
drain cleaning thing, it's not a roof.
Yeah.
Well, this was
Yeah,
just,
these
they
are-
didn't, the tin come, I mean, the tin comes up, it's supposed to be lapped over and it wasn't, and it came down through. Well, it probably is not a problem, or you would have known. I just wanted to.
Well, when we get the roofs checked, don't
That's,
they
she's
check?
not talking about the
No.
roof drain,
Right.
that is a
In
roof
bathroom.
vent.
Yeah, that's the
The
vent.
vent, yeah.
Went from
Isn't
bathroom.
there a cover on
They
that
didn't
vent?
put the
Yes.
lead down
It's
properly.
supposed to be a cover, it's
The
supposed to.
roofer should check that, because that would be a place for
I
that.
have
The
leakage too, the
association
same.
does not have a maintenance program on these roofs. We do have a proposal. It's hideously expensive from Campany. There's a maintenance program available. We do not have it.
Well, maybe we'll get a drone and we will fly.
Well,
over
that
and
should have
take
been done
pictures.
for the, with the installation.
I had that,
Yeah.
that's $600.
Yeah.
Well,
This is somewhat, I had the same program.
All right,
Pictures of the roofs.
anything else? All right, I make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
During the meeting. I got a question for you to ask. Will.
Larry, I second the motion.
That pitch can is not.
Second, all in favor?
They did that.
Aye.
Aye.